I must do my part for the honor of my house. Wouldn't you agree? But how? Well, my brother has his sword, and I have my mind. And a mind needs books like a sword needs a whetstone.
What are economic lessons we can learn from Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon? That's what we're examining in this series of videos that are dropping alongside House of the Dragon Season 2. My name's Matt Rosu. I'm an economist at Susquehanna University. Please like, subscribe, click the notifications bell. You'll be notified when new videos come out. This is the last video of this particular series. Check out the playlist if you like this one to see the other videos that show economic lessons from Game of Thrones. Today we're going to focus on one of everybody's favorite characters, Jon Snow, and a couple different economic lessons that he learns throughout the series. Let's go to the first clip.
Why'd you read so much?
Look at me and tell me what you see.
Is this a trick?
What you see is a dwarf. If I had been born a peasant, they might have left me out in the woods to die. Alas, I was born a Lannister of Casterly Rock. Things are expected of me. My father was the hand of the king for 20 years.
Until your brother killed that king.
Yes, until my brother killed him. Life is full of these little ironies. My sister married the new king, and my repulsive nephew will be king after him. I must do my part for the honor of my house. Wouldn't you agree? But how? Well, my brother has his sword, and I have my mind. And a mind needs books like a sword needs a whetstone. That's why I read so much Jon Snow.
Fantastic clip. Tyrion is answering Jon's question, why do you read so much? Tyrion gives his perspective on the world. So Tyrion says he can't be a fighter and he needs to use his mind, and love the phrase, so somebody who's a swordsman needs to keep his sword sharp. Tyrion needs to keep his brain sharp. The way he does it is by reading. A wonderful clip and entertaining in its own right. But I also think this gives us some good insights into a couple core economics concepts. One is the power of specialization, and related to that, the idea of comparative advantage. Both of those go along with the ideas of gains from trade. So if there was no trade, let's go into a world where trade doesn't happen. Tyrion would need to build his own shelter and grow his own food. This could be difficult, right? As he says, he was born a dwarf. He was born into essentially royalty, into the Lannister family, so he wasn't left to die, but needs to contribute honor to the family. He can't do it through fighting. He can't do it through many other means, but he can do it by trying to be smart and making intelligent decisions and benefiting the world in that way. So Tyrion is specializing in trying to essentially make good decisions, being an educated person, being thoughtful, and providing good counsel when needed. And in fact, throughout the series, does a really good job of that in many different instances. So Tyrion can benefit because of the specialization he does. He doesn't have to spend time trying to be a swordsman. He doesn't have to spend time trying to build shelter. He doesn't have to spend time trying to grow crops. He figures out a craft where he can use his smarts, his intelligence, and through that could gain from trade, could trade his services or sell his services, make money, and then with that money buy other things. Now, I know Tyrion is born rich, so maybe some of this doesn't apply, but the general idea applies, even if it doesn't necessarily apply specifically to Tyrion. So economists discuss this idea of comparative advantage and specialization, and the idea that individuals could specialize in something that they're very good at. They don't have to try to do every single task. They can do what they're good at. They can earn a wage from that, or if they're an entrepreneur, just earn money from a business from that. And then from the money that's earned, spend money on the areas where they don't have to work as hard. So I'm sure you can come up with a number of examples. You could think of it within firms, right? Henry Ford had each person do one specific little task in the assembly line for the Model T. So everybody got good at one specific little task. You could think of that within firms, but you could also just think about that in the world in general. I know a doctor who doesn't hate lawn work, but it's not his favorite thing. But, it costs money to hire people to do lawn work. So you could think maybe you don't want to do the lawn work. However, this specific person could pick up an extra hour or two on a shift that would more than cover many hours of lawn work from a lawn services company. So why spend, say, 30 hours of time doing lawn work when you could spend 3 or 4 hours of extra time working a shift and getting paid overtime at, of course, a very good salary? Doctors earn good money. And those 3 or 4 hours could pay for 20 or 30 or 40 hours of lawn service. That's a very clear example where specialization is an enormous benefit. It's a great trade, and the doctor specializes in doing things really only the doctor can do very well. But to do that, the doctor, naturally, though, had to get a lot of training. And like Tyrion, had to read a lot of books. Tyrion's teaching Jon all of this. We don't see Jon talk too much throughout this one, but it's really a great lesson that's given to Jon by Tyrion. Let's now go to a second clip, this one where Jon is getting a lesson, this time from Stannis Baratheon.
The men of the Night's Watch are sworn to play no part.
Talking about the damned Night's Watch. Talking about the wildlings.
Your Grace, you want the wildlings to march in your army?
They swear to follow me, I'll pardon them. We'll take Winterfell. Once the North is won, I'll declare them citizens of the realm. I'll give them land to live on.
It's a fair offer. More than fair.
I'll offer them their lives and their freedom. If Mance kneels before me and swears his loyalty.
Don't think that's likely.
You admire him, don't you?
I respect him.
He likes you. Convince him to bend the knee,
Your Grace.
or he burns.
How much time do I have?
Nightfall!
So in the first clip, we saw Tyrion teaching. This isn't as much of teaching, but the conversation here gives us a good insight into trade-offs and risks versus rewards. So Stannis wants the wildlings to become part of his army. This hasn't really happened. This is an interesting insight in risks versus rewards. The wildling army is not trusted as much by those south of the wall, but Stannis needs an army, and he needs an army to fight and win the war. And he wants to become king, and he thinks the wildlings will help him do that. This very much is a great video to think about trade-offs and risks versus rewards. What are the risks to Stannis here? Well, the wildlings could be ineffective. The wildlings could perhaps take the agreement, say they would help out, but then fight Stannis' own people. The wildlings could kill Jon Snow when Jon goes over there. And Stannis clearly thinks highly of Jon, values Jon's input, and values Jon's ability to motivate the troops. That's a risk. Stannis views the rewards of having the wildling army as worth it. Clearly, he views that he needs the wildling army in order to win the war. So the benefits exceed the costs. The trade-offs here are worth it. Jon gets a second lesson here in economics, in that everything is trade-offs. For every action, there is a trade-off. There is an opportunity cost. And Jon is learning this from Stannis Baratheon. A second way we can think about the risks versus rewards in this particular clip is looking at Jon Snow's upcoming decision. So he's got to go and discuss with Mance this idea of the wildlings joining Stannis Baratheon's army. That's not entirely riskless. So what are Jon's choices here? Jon could perhaps say no, although then that might risk the king executing him or some other bad outcome, or perhaps having to flee. Or could go, but then the wildlings could kill him on the way, or maybe Mance kills him when he gets over there. It's not really the best situation for Jon Snow to be in. Once again, there's trade-offs for making this in terms of risks to Jon's life, but there were risks in the other case, and it seems like the opportunity cost for Jon to go and talk to Mance is less than the costs if he were to stay behind. Hope you enjoyed this short video. Once again, my name's Matt Rosu. This is part of a series, Economic Lessons from Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon. Please check out the playlist for other videos if you haven't already, and I'd appreciate if you'd like and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.